Okay, hi, welcome to your isolation art lessons from the WLFS art department. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our expectations. These expectations are for the whole of Key Stage 3 throughout the Trinity term, or at least until we return to school. So we do need you to check Show My Homework every Monday morning from 9 a.m. Your work will start to be set. Year 7, your work will be set on a Monday. Year 8, it will be set on a Wednesday, and year 9, it will be set on a Thursday, and you will have a lesson on those days as well, which you can log into on Teams, and you'll have a different teacher for that lesson. You will spend 2.5 hours working on your art tasks every week. This includes 30 minutes of homework and 2 hours of lesson time. So that's what we're kind of expecting, and that's the level of work we're expecting. And we can really tell who spent half an hour on it or 2 hours on it. All your work must be uploaded onto Show My Homework unless otherwise stated. If you've got an issue, you can always email it to us, but we would prefer it on Show My Homework. That way we can mark it, we can see who's done it all in one place. And your deadline for classwork is 5 p.m. on the day the task is due. Not 6:30, not 11 o'clock, 5 p.m. the day it is due. The art tasks you have been set are not optional, and we will be in touch with the parents of students that do not submit the work. They are tasks that you need to complete, like in any other subject. If you want, you can also share your work online with your peers via Instagram using the hashtag WLFSArt. We also will be posting lots of work on Show My Homework, not on Show My Homework, on Instagram as well, and we'll actually share it with you in your lessons on Teams when we get your work in. If you have your sketchbook at home, for some of the tasks, you'll be able to use it. So remember to title and date all work in your sketchbook. Some of the tasks will be drawing tasks. But if you did not collect your book and you don't have it, you will need paper and pencils, and everyone hopefully will have access to a smartphone at the very least, or some sort of digital tool for drawing. The last thing, if there was ever a time to invest in some good art equipment, you should all have colour pencils at the very least, I expect. How else would you do your homework? But if there was ever in time to invest in smart materials, now is that time. So I'm going to move on to the first task that we're going to ask you to do. Quite a fun one and an interesting one. And part of the reason we want to talk to you and want you to start writing your own manifesto is because we want you to think about how you would like to approach art, what you think is important in art, and what you would like to achieve in your work. It's something that we've done ourselves in the art department. So there are a couple of tasks. The first one is the manifesto, and we would like you to read the WLFS art department quarantine manifesto. I'm going to show you that in a moment. You could research manifestos, think about what it could mean to you. You could read some artist manifestos. I'm going to show you where you can find some. And then what we would like you to do is write your very own 10-point manifesto and present it in a striking way. If you are stuck, you can start with the phrase, an art student should. There's an example on the right hand side of the screen. There's one more task we want you to do, and this is a really simple one, but we would like you to take a photograph of yourself once a day and save them together in one place. Keep them on your phone. So each morning, wake up and take a selfie. If you can't access technology, you could always draw a self-portrait every day, but I think all of you should have access to a camera phone, and we would like you to do this photograph, make sure the angle and the composition is consistent, what you're wearing is different, and just continue it until we ask you to stop. We want you to collect an image for every day. This lockdown continues, and we'll tell you what to do with it at the end. You do not need to submit these photos every day. Keep hold of them until we tell you what to do. Okay, so back to the manifesto. This we do want you to upload. We would like you to upload it onto Show My Homework. It could be a document, a Word document, or a PDF, a PowerPoint. It could be a photograph of a handwritten example. So I'm going to show you ours, the WLFS ones here. First question is, what is an artist manifesto? What are we actually asking you to do? What does manifesto, what does it mean? So a manifesto is basically a declaration of your intentions, motives, or views. And so in relation to an artist, it's the intentions, motives, or views of an artist or an artistic movement. So Westland Free School have written theirs, and this is our motives, our ideas, what we would want you to achieve over the next few weeks. Manifesto is really common in art, especially in the modernist movement, which started at the beginning of the 20th century, and avant-garde, which means kind of new and original. And they are still written today. Artists are still writing manifestos. Sometimes they are intended to be shocking or achieve a revolutionary effect. You may have heard of the Communist Manifesto. So they're written for political reasons as well as artistic reasons, all different motivations behind them. Sometimes they will address the political system. They are a way of expressing and publicising, recording ideas of an artist or an art group, even if only one or two people write the word. So you might be writing the words yourself. It might be something that you would want lots of people to adhere to. So one person in the art department could have written this manifesto, but everybody in the art department is going to stick to it and uses it as a framework for their teaching and for how they want their students to react. So one of the first manifestos was actually produced in 1855 by Gustave Courbet, who wrote a realist manifesto for his own personal exhibition. There was then a symbolist manifesto the year afterwards, and then that was just at the end of the 19th century. In the 20th century, they really took off. So there was a Futurist manifesto in Italy in 1909, then a Cubist manifesto, a Vorcist manifesto, a Dada, a Surrealist manifesto, all these amazing art movements. They all wrote manifestos in between sort of 1900 and up until the First and the Second World War. They never stopped being issued, and they continued to grow. But now we've got the internet, these things are kind of increasingly common. Everyone's getting on it, everyone's publishing their own art manifestos, and they're open up and they're available to a really wide audience. And some artists that you know, Grayson Perry, there's one there on the left of your screen, he's written a manifesto. There's also a really famous manifesto by a group called the Stuckists, who advocate painting as a medium rather than more contemporary art forms. So these are some of the kind of ideas behind a manifesto. They typically consist of a number of statements. Remember, we are asking you for 10. And they are in numbered or bullet points. They don't need to necessarily be in paragraphs, and they follow on one from another, so they kind of lead into each other. So it's a kind of creative writing task, and we're thinking about how it flows and how it reads well. It's a communication that is made to the whole world, and it can be presented in loads of different ways, just as here are some examples. Grayson Perry's is obviously quite illustrative. Even the idea of the font or the way it looks and the way it's presented is really important. Different size fonts, different texts, different backgrounds. There are a number of different kind of ways you can present your manifesto. The one on the right here is the Manifesto for Distill, which Mondrian was part of, that movement. So just going back to the West London Free School Manifesto, you can see that we have one that I have typed out in Word or any kind of processing document. We can save it as a PDF or screenshot it, save it as a JPEG. We also wrote it out in my handwriting, so it's not very readable. In the art department, that's Mr. BA behind there holding it up. We all signed it at the bottom. So you can approach this task creatively as well. And I'm really excited to see all the different kind of iterations and different versions and different ways you might present your manifesto. Because we are in art, it is not just a writing task, it is also a design, a visual task as well. So, if you're stuck, if you are not sure, if you want a bit of inspiration, the last place I suggest you go is to the Royal Academy. I've put a link on Show My Homework to this website. And here we go, I'll just click on it. Here is the website. And you can read about different manifestos written by different artists throughout history to give you some ideas. So there's an example. Follow the link on Show My Homework for some extra information. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat function. Please don't all video chat me now. So you can type any questions you have and I will do my best to answer, or whichever teacher is taking your lesson will do their best to answer. And give it your best shot. Really excited to see what you come up with. So there's two things one thing for this week and one thing that we want you to start and continue. The manifesto is due this week, and your daily selfie, as it says, is a daily task. You need to take a photo every single day, and when we tell you to do something with them, that's when you need to do something with them and send those in to us. Okay, good luck. Have a lovely day. Keep safe.